working week, but even though Canberra is Australia's capital, we are a bit laid back when you compare that with Sydney and Melbourne. But today your presence has awakened us from our slumber. It is an honor and good fortune for all of our Canberrans to hear you talk about Shirdi Sai and then sing his name. We also have with us other distinguished guests who have been accompanying Guruji from New Zealand, UK, USA and India. We have Sri Mukund Raji from Chicago, Sri Ramakrishnaji from Houston, USA, Sri Manu Bajaj from UK, and then we do have the team of the Shirdi Sai Sansthan New Zealand committee members, Sri Bhaskar Guru, the Vice President, Sri Amar Garu and Sri Surendra Garu. And then we have Sri Raghunath Reddy Garu from Tirupati. We do have Sri Jai Kishan Talani from Sydney, who invariably supports us through all the events of Shirdi Sai Baba conducted here in Canberra. All of these devotees have been chosen by Baba to do his service, and they are involved in spreading Shirdi Sai movement in their respective countries under the guidance of Guruji Sri Satpathy. I also want to take this opportunity to thank Shirdi Sai Sansthan of New Zealand, Sri Bhaskar Guru Garu, President, and Sri Amar Garu Secretary, and the Shirdi Sai Sansthan, Sydney, Sri Tolani ji, for helping us to make this event happen in Australia. Without their help and support, this event would not have taken place today. Thank you very much. We extend our thanks to HTTC and its the committee for their support. Special thanks to Srimati Pratibha Garu and her team for supporting us in doing the bhajans on short notice. And they have been supporting us since the last 10 years, since the time we had Baba here in the temple. I also want to personally thank a few friends of mine who I really don't want to mention, but without whose support, I don't think this event would have been carried on in a short notice. I don't have to take their names, but thank you one and all for what you have done to make this happen. And finally, I want to thank all of you devotees who have made this function happen. You have come here, shown your support. In spite of your busy work schedules, you've come here and made your presence felt. I just want to give you the rest of today's programs. After this word of thanks, we'll have a discourse by Guruji. A humble request to the parents to please ensure that your children are safe, and also to ensure that the noise is minimized so we can benefit maximum out of Guruji's discourse. There is a call at the end of the hallway. If the children would like to continue their activities, they may be asked to do that. After the discourse, there will be a 15-minute question-answer session. If people have got any questions that they would like to ask Guruji relating to the Baba and spirituality, please take this opportunity to do so. After that, we will have a small souvenir presentation, and then followed by normal Om Jai Jagadishwara Aarti, and then the Shade Aarti, which will be followed by Mahaprasad. I request you all to stay back, have the prasad, and go for dinner. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jai Shri Sai.
Jai Shri Sai.
Jai Shri Sai.
Jai Shri Sai.
Thank you, Anita, for the nice words. Thanks to all of you who are present here. thanks to this institution which has built this temple, and thanks to all who have been contributing in any way, small or big, to make a religious movement or a ethical movement a success in terms of maintenance of culture, humanism, and also a sense of balance in society. Why do I do things that I do for Shirdi Sai Baba? The first question should be from there. Anyone in doing anything? The first question arises, why does he do that? Hindu pantheon had so many deities. There have been so many spiritual personalities in the history of 5,000-year-old history, which includes the Vedic and post-Vedic and Puranic periods in India. We like a thing, we accept a thing, not necessarily because of its historicity. We like a thing and follow a thing, absorb a thing, because it's necessity as on today, relevance. Things that history creates in terms of social movements, economic movement, political movement, religious movement, fall off in due course of time. They take new characteristics because they become redundant and no more relevant. Think of all the spiritual masters or incarnations that ever created religions and paths inside the religions. What they conceived and construed as the basic fundamentals for social cohesion and human excellence, for the greatest good of the greatest number in the society for the longest period of time. Christ, Buddha, mythologically, Rama, all the Sikh Guru, what did they try exactly? Greatest good of the greatest number of people for the longest period of time. It is not for a minimum people for the shortest period of time. I like or I appreciate Sadhguru Sainath because point number one is that for over 60 plus years in the remote area of Shirdi, which had hardly 250 people, why did he choose to stay there? Why could not he go to Mumbai and the facility is provided by the technology of the time? Here devotees, rich enough magistrate, judges, the richest man of Nagpur Kalboti, Sriman Mukundra Bhoti. He had Bal Gangadhar Tilak visiting him, Khapati, the number 2 to Bal Gangadhar Tilak in the Congress visiting him. He had Kakasha Dixit, the biggest solicitor of Mumbai, who fought the case of in the War of Independence in the British courts, I guess were known as rebels for the British government at the time. He had everyone. But he decided of his own volition to stay in the remotest village full of mosquito, cholera and snakes at a price. Go through history. And when he left his body, my second point of liking is, he never left any property, he made no property in his name, individually or through an institution. Nor did he ask anybody to propagate his preachings. In the modern system of management, He did not. He did not leave a hair apparatus, this man after me. No, sir. He has 16, some coins, 9 coins he had given. He had total 16 coins, 7 were found from him. He came to a dilapidated mosque, which nobody on earth would come to stay. At equal level of the people he suffered. It is always the compassionate masters all over the world come down to the level of the people they suffer. They cannot sit on a higher pedestal dictating ethical terminology to the poor people who never had food from a higher pedestal. He slept there with the poorest of the poor, gave them food, succor and medicine, and left his body in the same state. He did not stand on a higher pedestal. Look at if there is another man who was so compassionate, who was Christ, no doubts, left with them, prostitute, drunkard, disease, lepers. The real spirituality doesn't come in the manifestation of material glory. The real spirituality doesn't come in the demonstration of miracles, for miracles cannot be the visiting card of saints. Real glory of the Masters Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Go to another character. Go to Lokanath Brahmachari, Bangladesh. Go to Kabir, Govind Tajuddin Aulia. Go to Shri Sai Baba, Akolpur Maharaj, Ramana Maharshi. All these characters had no sense of their body and materialism at all. They are so God absorbed and God intoxicated. Every moment of their mind was in that sense of full, the sense of divinity, and the outcome was the compassion, and the deliverable was service. If the deliverable is not service, it is no master. Giving spiritual thinking is a different issue. Suffering the agony of the people with them, like any ordinary human being, is the basic feature of a Sadguru. Because they are God realized. What is God realized exactly? In short terms. I would not like to use the terminologies, typical Hindu terminologies, yoga, kundalini, moksha. I will not use these words. They have been used, often repeated, but you hardly find anyone. We may have the pleasure of language, pleasure of speaking on hyperbolic literature while defining some people, and the pleasure of imagining that you are evolved. Some people do have the pleasure of imagining they are evolved. We'll go down to absolute directly God here and now. God here and now is better than God imaginable in the sky. God here and now is not the ultimate God here and now, but the God Spirit, elevated souls, passing through elevated souls, helping this society to grow. Even if you don't call it God, call it law of nature. Even if you call it nature, it is organic substance, has some consciousness. And that consciousness has got layers. If you think there is a higher consciousness than us, it can control and guide us as much as you can control and guide the ships that you are rearing. The ships that you rear, that's what in Christianity uses these words, or the dogs that you rear here now. You think they are underdeveloped in their consciousness? So you take the divine responsibility. And who gave you that divine responsibility? Question is this. What portion is Sai Baba? For this, number 3 is compartmentalization. Compartmentalization is small conclaves called cults and paths. Formal religions in the world have created more deaths by war. Institutionalized religions and wars. War is not the basic fundamental that any saint has said ever. Love is what they say. Pardon is what they say. It they never said. Therefore, those characters, personalities that preach love, compassion, at their own cost and on their own time, not at the cost of their devotees. Much of it. In a world today, which is a world in which material, technological manipulation for the happiness of human beings. This is a world of material, technological manipulation of human beings. This technology can also be used for manipulation of the use of religion. Because human psyche thinks in a way, it adopts it. For example, feudalism come to capitalism, it cannot part thereof. It happens, we have seen. He had no negative thought for any religion. The Parsis came, the Muslims came, Hindus came plenty, there were Chandra, Jaini man, Christians came, all came. The master never segregated, differentiated between religion. Nor did he preach a new religion, saying that preach a religion, I am an incarnation. No. He said, worship whomsoever you like. The tolerance. Tolerance is the theme of compassion. Compassion will always give tolerance, it cannot be. Otherwise, how can you be compassionate unless you are tolerant? That is what. So, for example, those of you who have read Sri Sai Baba's Sri Sai Satcharita, you will find umpteen example of people, anecdotal depictions with primary data, written in the diaries of devotees who worked there at the extant point of time and recorded by nobody persons like Harpade, who was the biggest law of Amravati and a member of the Legislative Assembly of India in 1918. They were not fools, or simpletons, or naive, or quacks, or mountebanks. They were educated people who found the greatness in this character and came. Today, so many temples are coming in Baba, all the world over. We are having, I have about 330, another 40 coming pipeline. Who is doing it? Shri Sai Sanstha? No. Main Sanstha. They find so much of people they can handle it. So people are doing it of volition, automotion. How is it that without any institutionalization, through the trickery of manipulation, there is no trickery. It is very simple as these are coming. This is the specialty of the Shri Sai Baba. And that's why I am with its cause. Please understand. It's a new sort of an approach I find in the world movement. There are thousands of temples coming in Delhi, also metropolitan cities coming. It's coming. It is having a mushroom growth and proliferation exponentially. How does it come? What is my business? I was very happy, very highly placed in the government when I went to Sydney. I was very highly placed in the government. I didn't go for agony. And many people, devotees who are here, did not approach him for agony to solve their problem or get a miraculous solution. No. Then what is it that attracts? If you are not going for a miraculous solution, you don't have a problem. You go to Shirdi or read about once and then you are drawn and you start working without no expectations of return. And you don't have an identity crisis either to prove that you exist because you are the devotee of someone. That is not there either. That is why I believe in Shirdi Sai Baba. He told someone, in 19th century, India was ridden and infested by three factors. Social. I will not come for the political functionality. One was caste. One was disease. Hatred for disease. Leprosy was very high. And third was the difference between the acceptance of a culture, pure rural Indian culture, and the modern vernacular culture introduced in India in 1835 by Macaulay. Newly educated people in the Western culture. There are three crises going on. Think of 1888. Think of 1957, Indians who were here. Know about your country and past. But he chose the person to serve him personally, who was the worst sufferer in all the three and not the richest people who were going around. To set an example, that he is dearest to me, you may be whatever you. I don't hate you, but he needs my support. Bhanu is in there, the photo you must have seen, who is holding an umbrella behind him, was a very poor man, Bhajani beggar. He had leprosy and he belonged to the scheduled caste of India. All the three abominable social condition, unacceptable to the common mass, to the educated and uneducated alike. Baba's hand burned. Somebody had to do a little bit of cleaning and bandaging. The doctors came, the richest people were there, so-called high-caste brands were there. But he selected this man to touch him and do it. He was the only man. He did not call doctors from the United States or British or Bombay. Greatness of master. A master will always keep himself at the level of functionality of his devotees. He can't have a higher level of management for himself. That's not a master. That is why, because of the humanness, this human approach, like a mother who will always look after, give more attention to the weakest child. The perfect master always will look after the weakest child. The richest child is not brought and the poorest child is thrown. No, it cannot be a perfect master. Examples. I've given you the saints' names, find out history. That is why I am a Shirdi Sai Baba. It is immaterial whether you call it a Shirdi Sai Baba, you call it Mr. X, Mr. X, whatever religion. We need a God to survive. Howsoever powerful we may seem, basically, we become very weak when you faces with trouble, and everybody needs a father's lap. There is a theory in psychological behavior, father's lap theory. A man, how much strong he is, but in distress he needs a protection. Because he has got this attitude, this protection from his mother's or father's lap. We therefore need something, a master, a god or someone, to find a lap where you can feel protected. It is not like, see, when you say it is protected, it is a socio-psychological phenomena. And the psychological phenomena includes emotiveness. It is not a rational calculation, I am saying. In spiritualism, in love, rational calculation, if it comes, then the very essence doesn't exist. It can be quantumized. The effects of devotion. Effects of devotion. Supposing so many temples have gone through me, so much work has come. How it has come? What is the quantumization of the finance? You can't quantumize it absolutely. That can't be quantumized. So the rational management system of quantumization of everything down to numericals cannot happen here. If you are thinking in the term, then we're in term. We are not understanding. It is felt from within. Love cannot be quantized in terms of material numericals. Cannot be. Okay. So devotion is nothing but spiritual devotion, love to God. So the spiritual master taught us that we are not quantumizing, we shall not quantumize. Therefore I pray him and work for him. Sri Shri Sai Baba was not aware about his own spirituality. You will be shocked and surprised to know the spiritual masters are usually not aware of the spirituality. At times they come up when in a state of spiritual ecstasy, they come up with some sentences which you call revelations. Otherwise they behave like absolutely ordinary people. If one is aware that he is spiritual and doling out things, he is not a spiritual master. Because the very ego that cognizes, gives a cognizance that I am something, I am big, I am superior than you. The very brain cells that cognizes, they have become dormant in their cases through practices. They don't know what they are actually. But love is the coin they have. That's what the spiritual masters are. It's very difficult to understand them because you will find many people masquerading in the name of spiritual mastership and incarnating in the name of gods, which is wrong because the history of the world, in the history of the world, no incarnation has reincarnated. Tell me one example in the history of the world. An incarnation is reincarnated. Krishna is not an incarnation. Rama cannot be possible. Fundamentally not accepted in any of the spiritual sciences anywhere. I've gone through almost every spiritual practices rather, not the science, including Muslim religion, Christianity practice. That's why I'm speaking with a certain amount of personal experience. That's why I love. He broke down the barriers that separated human beings. Caste, one barrier broke down. They merged without that. Rich or poor barrier, he broke down. They merged. Religion, Muslim, Hindu broke down, the merged. The spiritual masters will always try to break down. They are the spiritual rebels of their time. The work is to make adharma means what? The barriers creating, they will break down those barriers to see that a reason comes. He broke down caste, he broke down religion, he broke down people. Temporarily somebody is big, somebody is small. The magistrate, for example, and his cook, both were treated equally and both were having food at the same time. The cook, because he was more simple and spiritual, was given a better treatment, forgetting the magistrate is there. Wherever you find special treatment is given to the richer class or higher class, whom God has already empowered, it puts me in doubt whether it is spiritual master. They are for the poorest of the poor. Not that there is anything negative in treating the people in higher pedestal. No, they have their own destiny, fine. But who needs the better support? The sick child in the society. That's the essence of social evolution. I can go on speaking, but I will not take a lot of time. What I find, another thing very peculiar to Shirdi Sai Baba is that whether it is here or it was in the US or Canada, in Africa, in UK, even Cuba where I had been, Havana, New Zealand, the emotion and the relationship with Baba, internal relationship, and its depiction and manifestation in various ways is same, if not same, similar. Let me repeat the sentence. What makes me very surprised, as an objective phenomena, I take out myself, I stand out and look at the objective phenomena without me being a subjective factor into it. If I am subjective, I can think everything is good and my guru and his guru and God is there, nothing. I take out myself, stand in a corner and look what's happening. I find the emotion, the devotional emotion, its manifestation, and the various ways that it is similar, whether in the United States, India, even Cuba, Australia, Africa, here, New Zealand, Sydney. My first temple in this, you call it a southern hemisphere, God bless. We did it, Mr. Tolani is there in 12 years back. I didn't know I would return back here to New Zealand now. And then in the process, going back to Canberra. I didn't plan. Let things happen or not happen. I have a mind, Lord, you take me any you like or don't take me, that's your choice. I'm just prepared to put my body and energy. If you have a chance, otherwise fine. That is our attitude in Sai movement. Will not manipulate. If I have to do Baba's work and manipulate, tell a lie, earn money through lying, tell big things about my master which are false, that is the biggest sin I do. I am not the advertising agency for Shirdi Sai Baba. If we are telling lie about the greatness of the master, I tell you all devotees, please never tell lie about the greatness of the master because he is competent enough to handle himself. Never. Then the master is not perfect, as a devotee you are not perfect. Let the temple come or doesn't come. But don't manipulate people wrongly to have money to temples. Without doing anything, I am where I am. There must be one place in which in life one must find how things grow without all these manipulations. I have never done, shall not do. Have this experience. Can it be done? Yes, it is done. And here is the example here. A new system of management, maybe. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is why we are here in a temple. Everybody wants a support, a crutch, a father's lap, a compassion. Who doesn't want the worst criminal who has murdered 20 people, when in distress, needs compassion? Who doesn't need compassion? We need all compassion, even if you are not compassionate. But what the master said, you need compassion, fine, but why don't you be compassionate to others? Awaken that essence of compassion or that frequency of compassion in you so that you will be better able to receive the compassion given by others. You can't be working one frequency, switching on your radio and wanting another frequency coming to you. Cut across all ritualism, I say, temples. Fine, I have so many temples, but that's not the issue. Temples are meant for hospitals, public service, schools that are coming up, universities are coming up. Ultimately, people are giving money not only for worship, or their money is coming to for the service of the community. It should all go for community service ultimately. Because what the masters did, call it Christ, Buddha, Baba, whosoever, they converted this mighty social force under a banner for community services, particularly of the poorest of the poor, because they need a God here and now. We don't need God here and now. God has given enough. We don't search for Him much because we have much better status. People who are dying in Somalia without food, let's say, and war, tsunami dying, whose families went away, I think Japan and Philippines and all that. It is a different thing to sit on a chair and think intellectually how much of funding can be given. It's a different issue to feel that. That feeling sense is the basis of devotion and spirituality. The spirit expands. Expands of the spirit to absorb others within our own. As I feel for myself, do I feel for others? Not that I must necessarily do or can do. No. The point is the essence. If it comes, I know I shall be motivated to do whatever possibly I can. That is why I am Shri Sai Baba. For that matter, I am with any master in my temples. The photo of all the masters are there. Whosoever have been kind and who has not pretended. So, it is a human body carrying a certain energy field and going for others. That's what it is. You can be the one, he can be the one, anybody can be the one. It doesn't have to be advertised, and there's nothing called spiritual acrobatics. We should prepare ourselves. Little that you can do. Some people seem to jump steps. Jumping step means catching on to some idea. Somebody I found is doing a Kundalini thing. People don't understand what Kundalini means exactly. And who express very less people understand. Somebody is having nirvana straight away. These are not possible. Don't waste your time. Little negativities in mind need to be controlled. Little negatives. Let us get out of our negativities. Following a master or following him. I am little more jealous than him, I know, supposing. Let me try to become little more less jealous by practicing how not to be jealous. I am a short-tempered man, I hurt people. Let me get out of this short-temperedness by tolerating things a little more. I am more greedy than others. Let me try actually giving a little more than I used to give poor people. These little trials sanctifies, evolves the character of human being, and that ultimately gives happiness to himself, because otherwise he is bogged down by his own negativities for which he doesn't find a solution. He thinks going to temples and doing puja and giving doles to the deities will solve it. It will never solve. It is not solved. This is the essence that Sri Sai Baba taught us. And so I believe in it. And I work for it. Last thing that Baba said, never criticize any religion, anybody, any guru, nothing. Never. If your belly is full, be happy with that. You don't have to criticize what that lady is creating. There's nothing. In the entire of Sai Chandra Kitab, in all his writings, there has been no negative statement about anyone. No comparing. No contrasting, nothing of this sort. All the devotees of Baba, please do not compare, contrast, nothing. That's not your job. Be happy with what you believe in and go by that path. बाबा ने कहा बहुत रास्ते हैं, यहाँ से भी एक रास्ता जाता है. Like what Vivekananda perhaps said, like all the rivers leading to the sea. All the paths lead to me. practicing containment, control of negativities in mind with a little faith in God or whosoever believe and with patience. That faith is no meaning which it doesn't have patience. Because you become very soon impatient. Two cardinal words he said, faith and patience. Faith is tried and tested with patience only. And without patience, it can't run much long because every time you're breaking down. And it's making you start. All this is I'm saying, none is my own theory. I'm too naive to tell philosophical theory. I'm only trying to sort of paraphrasing, paragraphing, and explaining in the limited vocabulary that I do have in my lexicograph to people like you who must have heard much more than this from somewhere. And may must have gone to many places in search of your own self. Please be in that search and land up where you find your peace of mind. Whosoever Guru. I don't suggest that because I'm here you should necessarily follow Sri Sai Baba. No, sir. I am saying this is the thing. Any human body, any who are doing so, follow. The God Spirit, the Spirit of Christ, we call it, not of Jesus of Nazareth. Let's differentiate between two words. Or the Spirit of Buddha. With these words, I thank you all for giving me patient hearing. I never thought I'd be coming and addressing people like this. Kind of you to listening to me. And you know, what is my reward? My reward is when I'm talking with you, I'm remembering my master and becoming happy from within. Obviously, by giving me an opportunity to telling you things, I'm like a recitation of incarnational mantra. I'm thinking of my master, his greatness, and feeling happy. And that's why, thank you very much. I do not know where. I do not know when possibly I may be able to come to this side of the globe. Sydney, I am done it 12 years and too many jobs to done in many places also. Again, may they who carry us and push us through these activities decide. And may we flow in this stream of consciousness into which we have been put into. I thank again the organizers, Anita, IK1 family, our trustees that have come from all over Chicago. They have named Chicago, UK, Houston, India, New Zealand, and many other places. And this place, I think, many places, Canberra, besides Golani and many places here come, and all of you. Good that you got an institution which has provided a forum, an area where you can sit together and exchange things. May Sri Sai bless you, may God bless you. Have a nice and good night. Thank you.
Sir, what?